Hello. Guys. Here we go. I'm gonna wait a couple minutes for us to start this. And we'll see who signs on. So my friends might show up in a minute to pick up their dog who have been dog sitting all weekend. And my dog's might crazy bark. So apologies. I will try to mute myself if that happens. All right, guys, 2 more minutes. We'll start at 1:05. Anyone have any questions or anything before we start?
Hey, Billy, this is Belinda.
Hi.
Is this going to be similar to the one we did the other day?
Yes, this is going to be exactly the same because it didn't record.
That's what I thought, but I still wanted to see it.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have a recording as well of this one. I am recording now. I can see it up in the corner. I don't know what was going on with my other thing.
Oh. Well, I try to tell people about this so that you'd have more participants.
Oh, it happens. It's a Sunday afternoon. Sometimes, you know, football stuff. I'm not worried. I'm happy to get it recorded so it can go on the YouTube.
Yes, thank you. So to go on YouTube, we look under that
Think ABA.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. You look up there. There's one on compound schedules of reinforcement right now.
Oh, good, because I need more on that. And like, I just did the one with study notes earlier, but I still, what's a good way of remembering which one is successive, which one is, you know?
Mine is a little bit broken down like theirs as well, because that's how I learned it, but different examples might be more helpful too. So yeah. I used a little bit of different examples.
Perfect, thank you.
So, one more minute.
Well, I appreciate you doing all this.
Of course, I'll try to figure out what I'm gonna do next week. I think I'm just gonna do a Sunday at 1 standing something.
You know what I have a question on? I've been seeing a lot of mock questions like about precision teaching and the different natural, and I'm like, God, I can't even find that. I was like, where's that coming from? Somehow I missed
that was actually something that last minute I had a really rough time with on my test as for mine as well. So I have a way to break it down so you at least remember the way to memorize it for the test and what you're going to be tested on. So that is something I can take a look at. Thank you. Let me write that as a note.
Yeah, because like I went back through the chapters. I'm like, where am I missing that?
It's precision teaching, PSI.
Yeah.
Oh, what were the other ones? One was like choral response.
Do you remember where in Cooper I can find that?
God, no.
I know. It's like, I don't remember seeing it as I go back through, rereading stuff. I'm like, where the heck is it?
It is in there. It's under, I think it's, NET, Naturalistic Environment Training. It's another one of those. I have it on the whiteboard that I posted on the group. I'm going to try to find my whiteboard.
Yes, please.
And then I'll write that one in for next week. That one's not going to be, that'll take 30 minutes. I'll be done. This is more of a, you got to memorize it kind of one again too. Like this, you just got to memorize it and eventually you'll get it. Keep writing it down over and over and over.
Are you going to be able to post it on Facebook, on your Facebook?
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry, did I mute myself?
Yeah, I'm like, uh-oh, did we lose connection?
I did by accident. My whiteboard's already posted on the Study Notes ABA group. You could just type in whiteboard and find my name. It pops up.
Okay.
But I will post it after I post. I'll do that. I'll post it later after this. All right, it is 1:05. This one took exactly 30 minutes last time, so hopefully that'll take exactly what it takes this time. We're doing IOA, which can be found on Cooper's pages 113 to 122 in the second edition. I do not know third edition. I'm sorry, I don't have it yet. I'm waiting until we move over to even buy that book. It's pretty, but no. Think ABA, I have YouTube that has a couple other stuff like we talked about, compound schedules of reinforcement. There's a couple other ones on just reinforcement, positive versus negative, kind of really going back to respond and operant conditioning. And I'm not really good at Instagram anymore, but you can find me there. So what is IOA? According to Cooper on page 113, the IOA is the degree to which two or more independent observers report the same observed values after measuring the same events. What does that mean? That means you're looking at the same thing, right? You see a kid have a tantrum. Do you guys report it the same way in your data? Are you looking at the exact same behavior? Is your operational definition good? Are you measuring it in the exact same way? Like, are you measuring frequency? Does that just count as one? Or are we measuring duration? Do we have a stopwatch to know how long it goes on? And is at the same time? Is the behavior happening at the same time that you both see it? You might both have one frequency for duration, but if you're looking at it, yours might have started at 9 o'clock and hers might have started at 10 o'clock. So you've got to make sure that the people, the places, and the time are all the exact same. And if you're doing that, that is when you can be measuring IOA. That's how that works. All right, so there are benefits to IOA. The main benefits are this is a basis to determine the competence of new observers. So, and this, I say new and I put that in big letters, capitalized, because this isn't something that you are going to determine the competence of like one of your RBTs who's been there for 10 years. This is going to be a brand new observer. They're going to come in and you're going to see how well they understand your definition. This is mostly for you because do they understand what your definition is? Yes. Then your IOA is good, your definition is good, and it can help us detect observer drift too. So I come in for one of my RBTs that's been there forever. I start noticing that they're not that I don't think they're getting it right. So we take IOA data and I say, okay, well, I got 3 this time and you got 2. Why wasn't that last? And we had the time, we're like, why wasn't that last one counted? And they say, oh, because of blah, 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 blah. And you look at it and you say, no, look, this is part of that definition. And so they're observer drift. Or I got it wrong and I said, oh my goodness, I thought that was tantrum, but I didn't realize it wasn't because my definition, it doesn't count my definition. So either way, both of observers can drift. and we increase our confidence in the data and research when done. So this is believability. We get IOA and you get your research, or you get your data and you show it to parents and you're like, hey, or you show it to the, your review board and you say, hey, look it, I got this information and so did this person that had no idea what we were doing, just was kind of taking data on my same things. That's how it works. It works. So it's now we believe it. That's believability. So if you get a question on the exam and it says IOA increases what? The answer is believability. So the way I break down IOA is in 3 ways. Rogue ABA does this a lot, and it's the only way that helped me to do it. I break them down by frequency, duration, and interval IOAs. So it's a kind of like a triangle in my brain, and my brain goes, okay, it's one of those 3, and then I can break it down. So we're going to start with the most common one, the common IOAs, and those are IOAs for frequency. There are 3 different IOAs for frequency. So you see your question, you're like, oh, this is an IOA for frequency, and you're like, all right, it's only one of 3. So I don't have to try to go through the math of 9 at one time, I can just do the math of 3. So there's exact count, total count, and mean count per interval. We're going to break these down so you don't have to write down this exact thing right now. I have a prettier way of doing it. So the next one is exact count per interval. The number of intervals of 100% IOA over the total number of intervals. That's the exact count. This is the most stringent IOA. This one takes a lot of paying attention. This one is the one you want to do when you're doing frequency if you can. So we're going to do the math for this one. We're going to see the number of intervals that are in 100% agreement. So interval 1 and 2. Interval 1, are they in agreement? Yes.
Yes.
They are. Thank you. Interval 2? No.
No.
3?
No.
4?
Yes.
5?
No.
6?
Yes.
7?
No.
8?
Yes.
No. Yes. So how many do we have that are in agreement?
5.
2, 3, 4, 5. So that's the number of intervals in 100% IOA. So that's 5. We put that over our total number of intervals, 10. That equals 0.5. We times that by 100%, and we get 50% IOA in agreement. This is exact count. So we are exactly counting each interval, and if they match. If they do not match, they don't count. They don't go on the top denominator. Next one is total count. People get these mixed up so often because, yeah, they sound like pretty much the same thing, right? Exact, total, blah, blah, blah. Exact means everything. We're counting everything. We're exactly counting. Total means we look at the total. That's it. That's the best way to remember it. You only get the total. None of this counts at all. We don't care. So we put the smaller number in the total. And sometimes this number is not here for you. Sometimes you have to do the math yourself. So I did the math for you already, but all of these add up to 35. So there might not be a total word there, but if you're seeing total count and they're asking you for total count, add them up. It's you're totaling it. It's just all plus, 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 plus. So the smaller number is 35. I'm going to change this pen. I'm sorry, I hate this pen. How do I change this pen? There we go. There we go. Better pen. Smaller number is 35 over 36. It already did that math for you. That's 0.972. We multiply that by 100%, and we equals 97.2%. These are the exact same numbers. Exact count. Total count. I did not change this one, and I did it on purpose because I wanted you to see why total count is dumb. We don't do this one. This doesn't make a lot of sense. Why to use this one? I don't know why it counts. I don't know why we need it, but this is something you need to know. 50% and 97.2% are a huge difference. If we use total count, it looks like we have really good IOA. We lose exact count, not so much. So just be wary. Garbage, much better. Next one is mean count per interval. This one is really mean. That's the joke. So you have to get the mean of each interval and divide them by the total number of intervals. So I did this math already, it's all kind of written here, but 2 divided by 2 is 1. We plus that by 4 divided by 5. Even if the number on top is bigger, you always put the little number on top. It makes more sense. And that gets point. I don't know why this is doing this. It doesn't need to be. Point. Let's clear this. Okay. 1 plus 0.8 plus 0.5 plus 1 plus 0.86 plus 1. Also, write this out on your whiteboard. You have whiteboard. It's huge. It's super long. It's like 16 inches long and like 11.5 wide. Or I don't know, 8.5 wide or whatever. It's like a normal width. But it's like 60 inches long. It has grids, so it keeps like nice and pretty for you. Just write it down if you get a mean count per interval, because your brain is going to melt trying to put it all in the calculator. Like, oh, which interval was I on again? And they might not give you all this cool little interval. They might just give you the numbers. So you're like, oh, I have to memorize it, like where they are. No, just write it down. I promise, it'll be fine. Plus 0.4 plus 1 plus 0.5 plus 1. And all of that equals 8.06. So all of those added together is this, 8.06. We divide it by the total number of intervals, which is 10. And we get 0.806. And we multiply that by 100%. And we get 80.6%. Again, this is the exact same numbers as these two. Exact, oops, sorry guys. Literally, the exact same numbers. And see how widely varying we got there? That's so most stringent, garbage. Okay. This one gave us a better one. We use this one a little bit for time because you want a mean average of what you're doing, or you know, an FBAs and things like that. So those are all of our frequency ones. Do we have any questions on that?
Billy, I just have one question. I want to make sure I understand it. So when we're doing IOA, you have 2 people in there at the same time doing the observation?
2 or more. Yeah, 2 or more. 2 or more. They are independent of each other, so they do not see each other's data that they are taking. It would be easier if they were in separate rooms and they could see the room. They're independent from each other. They're taking the same data of the same behavior at the same time.
Okay.
But independent is the main thing. You cannot stress enough that you have to be different. If I take IOA and I'm in the same room as my tech, they see me marking stuff on my paper and they're like, oh, I should mark something. So IOA needs to be independent. I like to do over telehealth. It's actually pretty cool because they don't know I'm taking it. I turn off my camera like, oh, I'm just gonna watch and like type up something over here, and I'm taking IOA. Sorry, I took a drink of my coffee. All right. Next, we're gonna do IOAs for duration. There are 2 of these, total duration and mean duration per occurrence. Do they sound familiar? Guys, I need to make sure that no one's trying to get in the waiting room. Sorry, guys. I see a chat. I don't know. I'm sorry, guys. I can't get into this chat. So one of you messaged me. My thing just froze. Oh, Gabriella, can you hear the sound? Or Graciela, can you hear the sound now? I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm good now.
Okay, good. Sorry. Okay.
Thanks. No problem.
So do these sound familiar? Total duration, mean duration? Yeah, because they're the exact same thing as before, except for now it's duration. The main thing you want to see here is typically either in the question or in the data they'll give you, they'll tell you a time. They'll be like, oh, his tantrums lasted for 10 seconds on average or whatever. So if they don't say in minutes here like they do on my lovely little easy graph or table of data, then you got to read the question. So when you're reading the question and you figure out it's an IOA question, you got to say, okay, am I counting frequency? Am I counting duration? Or am I doing intervals right now? These numbers might not have 1 minute on them. They might be like they are right here blank, but they'll either have in minutes here or they'll say it in the question. So that'll help you. Now, once you've broken it down and you know we're a total duration IOA, what you do is look at the total. That's it. Put the smaller number duration over the larger number. 17 divided by 20 equals 0.85. Multiply that by 100 equals 85%. Total duration is just the totals. None of these count. They do if you don't have a total and it's blank. Then you go 5, 6, 7, 10. You know, I don't know actually if that is 20. That is not 20, guys. But whatever, let's pretend that it is 20. That's what I wrote. Let's see. 10, 11, 12. That's 17 here. 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, they're both 17. So let's make this a 4. And there we go. Now we have 20. Apologies. Someone should have called me out the last time I did this. Duration. Mean duration is just like mean interval. It's the same thing. We take the mean of each interval and we divide it by the total number of intervals. So 1 minute, 2 minutes is 0.5 plus 0.8 plus 0.5 plus 1 plus 0.86. All of that equals 3.66. So that's all of this, 3.66. Then divided by the total number of intervals is 5. That equals 0.732 times 100 equals 100%, 73.2%. So it's the same thing. You just have to, the reason why these are so confusing is because there's like 10 of them that are the exact same thing. So if you see mean something, you're just taking the means. If you see total something, you're just taking the totals. If you're seeing exact something, you're doing something to every single thing. You're checking yes or no. So don't let yourself get confused because there's extra words after here. It'll mean something in your answer because you need to answer in minutes and not seconds, or you need to answer in frequency and not duration. But that's the easy part because you know those words. Those are the basics. Just remember, mean means you get the mean, and it's really mean, and it takes a lot of time. Any questions on our mean durations one or our duration ones? Okay. These are our last ones. There's only 4 for intervals, interval by interval, trial by trial. I'm going to tell you a secret. These 2 are the exact same. So no big deal. And then scored versus unscored IOA, which these are basically the exact same, but just a little different. So interval by interval is the number of intervals that we agreed the behavior happened or happened the exact same, and over the total number of intervals, right? So I did this wrong when I first made this, and it makes it easier to visualize because intervals are, the interval ones usually have like a yes or a no, or a plus or a minus in them. So that makes it a lot easier. So I'm going to go through and change these because this is how I memorized it. If you can look at the data, and the data says, and the data has yeses or nos or pluses or minuses, then it's probably an interval one. Well, no, it is an interval one, not probably. It is an interval one because that's how it goes. So what we're going to do is look at the number they agreed that the behavior did happen. Yes, did happen. And that for us in this case is going to equal y. And they will tell you that. You're not going to be blindsided and be like, I don't know if behavior happened. It's going to be y, it's going to be a plus, something like that. So interval 1, they agreed it happened. So let's see, yes. Let's change my pen to this one so I can do that. Interval 2, no. Interval 3, no. Interval 4, yes, no, yes, yes, yes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They agreed on 5 intervals that this behavior did happen. So that's 5. Over the total number of intervals, 10. That is, I'm not going to do all that math because we've done it before. That's 50%. They agreed 50% interval by interval that the behavior did happen. This is 50% IOA for interval by interval. Trial by trial is the exact. It's just like this one we use for like whole interval and partial interval and momentary time sampling. Because that's what this looks like, right? Did it happen in the end or did it not? Trial by trial, this is more like a DTT one. We use this for when we're doing DTT or when we're doing something a little more specific. So again, this is where I messed up. So I'm just going to put random letters in here. I'm going to try to change it up a little bit so that it's not the same math as before. I think I did actually, but okay, so we want to know the intervals. Oh wait, I'm gonna put this here. That they agreed it happened, right? So yes, they both agreed. No, no, yes, 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 yes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They agreed on 6 intervals out of 10 that the behavior did happen. If I had left this a no, right? This is the total number of trials. It counts here. Whereas with interval by interval, it would be, yeah, that's right. Never mind. I'm sorry. So 6 out of 10, 60%. That was me overthinking it and going into a rabbit hole that you guys don't need. I apologize. I did the math a little different on this. I put the numbers a little different so we had different math, but literally these are the exact same thing. There's no, they're just, these are for the momentary time sampling, the time sampling stuff, and this one is going to just be for DTT and things like that. But when it comes to the test, you do them the exact same way. So this is scored. These are my favorite. If you guys took the summer collective this year, 2020, I giggled at this one a lot because I made this one into one of our friends on there, Keith, versus my husband, Dane. Keith scores, my husband doesn't. It was just giggly. It made it work in my brain. I don't know why. So we're taking the number of intervals that they agreed, that we as IOA people agreed that Keith scored. So we don't agree that he scored here, that they both scored. We don't agree, both don't agree. We do here, we have 10 minutes to finish this, and we're going to be plenty of time, which is great. We both agree here that he scored. We both don't, and only one of us doesn't. So the number of intervals agreement is only 1. The thing about scored versus unscored is we're only counting, this should be yes, and this should be a no. Only counting the ones in which one or both of us agree that he scored. So here, one of us did. Nope, these don't count because both of us said no. This one does count because we both did. 1, this is 2. Nope, this one doesn't count because neither of us said he scored. And he scored here, so that's 3. So our total number of agreements that Keith scored was 3. We both agreed, though, on trial 3 that he did. So this is perfect agreement. This is 1 plus observers agree the X happened. That's how we make this make more sense, because it's sum of intervals in agreement and interval disagreement. That doesn't make any sense. It's where one or more observers agree that the behavior happened. So only one of them agreed. It still counts for the bottom denomination, but it does not count for the top. So 1/3 is 0.33. We multiply that by 100%, and we get 33% IOA that Keith scored. I think I did the exact same numbers for here. Unscored is the same thing, but in reverse. So for the top numbers, we got to see where he didn't score. N is what we're looking for. So we both agree he didn't score here. We both agree he didn't score here, but not here, here, here. So the top number is 2, because we have to be perfect agreement here. These two are perfect agreement. Now, 1 or more now, 1 plus observers agree he did not score, because this is unscored. Unscored means not. So we have to find 1 plus observers agree that he did not score. So this one counts, check. This one counts because 1 or more. This one doesn't count because they both said he scored. This one counts because it's 1 or more. And this one counts because it's 1 or more. So it's 2 out of 4, which is 1/2. 5. We times that by 100%. We get 50% IOA. So again, these ones are used for time sampling. Again, these are used for the time sampling stuff. This is used for whole interval, partial interval, and momentary time sampling. In your test, on any mocks I've seen, you're going to see yes, no's here for scored or unscored, pluses or minuses. That's what they're going to say. It's going to be plus or it's going to be minus. It's going to be yes, so it's going to be a no. That's how you're going to see it. The last thing I kind of want to leave you with is that the way you're going to see these questions. Any of these questions, they're going to come 2 ways. Any IOA question is going to either be, you're going to have all of this math and it's going to be pretty done for you, except for you're not going to have this lovely, actual equation, right? You're going to have this math, it's going to be done for you, it's going to be great. And then all you have to do is figure out which IOA to use and plug it in. And what they'll do is they'll have the numbers. They'll have 97%, they'll have 30%, they'll have 50%. And you have to find the right answer. They're going to have, if they're asking you a scored versus unscored question, they're going to give you 33% in there, because they're going to want to make sure that you know the difference between scored and unscored. And they're like, okay, what's the unscored IOA? And you have to make sure you know that it's not 33% because it's unscored, it's 50%. That's one way they're going to do it. Another way they're going to do it is they're going to say, so-and-so, we did an IOA and we got 50% agreement. What type of IOA did we use? And they're going to give you unscored, total count, scored, and exact. So what you do is cross off the easy ones first. Total count, right? I would be like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Total count is 2/3. That equals 66%. That does not equal 55. That one's super easy, right? Exact count is super hard. So that because you have to do everything. Whereas this is just yes or no's, and we know exact count is frequency. So this is a yes or no. This goes bye-bye. Exact count's going to have numbers in it. It has to have numbers in it for you to know it because it's a frequency one. So it's between scored and unscored. So then I just look and I do, okay. I usually pick scored first because it doesn't really matter, because then it's just process of elimination and you say, okay, scored, check, check, check. We got 1 out of 3, 33%. That doesn't match the number, so it has to be scored. Unscored, I mean, sorry. So it has to be unscored. Those are the two ways you're gonna see the number. They're gonna say, hey, what's the unscored IOA? Do the math. Or they're gonna say, hey, here is the number, the percentage we got. Which type of IOA did we use? Those are literally the two ways you're gonna see the question. And that's just what you have to do to break it down to answer it. It's not a lot, but it's a pain in the butt. Now we've got 3 more minutes. I'm gonna see if I can end this. All right, can I discard my annotations? Zoom, stop broadcast. Do we have any questions last minute, guys? Start my video, didn't even see me. Hi. Any last minute questions on this, or was this good?
No, it makes a lot of sense. It's just trying to remember, like you say, which one goes with the whole interval, the partial interval, you know. So I'm going to have to put those on flashcards, try to go back and remember those.
So what I would do and what I did, I would get your flashcards, right? And I would break them down into 3. And I'd say frequency, duration, interval, right? And I'd say, what are the 3 frequencies? Yep. And then my next flashcard would be like, how do you tell if it's a frequency or a duration? Frequency just has a number. It doesn't have in minutes, it doesn't have in seconds. Is this frequency? Oh, duration. How do you tell if it's a duration? Duration will have time in the question. How do you tell if it's interval? It's going to have pluses or minuses, yes or no's for the most part. Don't get me wrong, trial by trial, interval could have numbers. I have never seen one in any mock I have ever done that it had anything other than yes, no, pluses or minuses. In real life, it could have numbers. Not scored, unscored. Scored, unscored will have plus and minuses only, or yeses or no's. But I've never seen it in a mock for it have anything other than symbols. So that's immediately, you see symbols on your data, you go straight to the interval ones and you say, okay, which one's my interval ones? I have trial by trial, I have interval by interval, I have scored, I have versus unscored. All right, what's the easiest one? So, and then you just get the math. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but they're almost all the same. Interval by interval, trial by trial, exact same math.
Okay.
Exact count, great, like exact math. The mean ones, exact same. You just look, do the mean, look, do the mean, look, do the mean. Total count is literally just the last 2. You just need to look at that last total count. So it seems so hard because there's so many, but it's really not. I promise. You guys just keep doing it. Write it down 100 times, and I will definitely do this precision teaching PSI stuff next week, because I think.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I think that would be really great.
Yeah, because I have not seen it anywhere, so that'd be great. Because I'm just seeing it on so many mock questions.
There's a lot. They go away basically in the 5th edition, but you need them for your test still. All right, guys. Well, we have less than a minute, so I'm going to hang up now, and I will post this on my YouTube. I'll post it in the study group and all of that too. So have a great week.
Thank you.
Message me with any questions. Bye, y'all.